Alright, exciting day, folks. Got a new project coming here. Brand new Raspberry Pi 4 with 8 gigs of RAM. This is to rebuild my OctoPrint server and get the time lapses going again, since the old Mac Mini that I was using for quite a while decided to break. So let's take a look at this, get it going. As you can see, this is the basic starter kit. This is just a 128 gig drive for it. This is a cable extension for the camera, which we'll see later. We'll take a look at this. Basically just telling you where to hook the power port to. And not to insert the card until after you get it built. Micro HDMI to HDMI cable. There is the clear case that comes with the starter kit. There is the actual Raspberry Pi. Comes with the power adapter and the heat sinks taped to the power adapter. We'll just pull those off. Gonna need them. It's a little fan for the case. And the USB-C adapter for power on off. And of course the starter kit. Let's get the box out of the way. Let's go ahead and we'll pop the case open. Put the trash in the iteration bin over here. Oh, it's pretty cool. I like that. Alright, let's pop open up the computer because that's what we're going to need next. And we can see this is the new Raspberry Pi 4, 8 gigs, some USB, the gig Ethernet. Alright. Let's grab the heat sinks because we're going to need those. Trash to the iteration bin. And these are all fairly obvious. Where they end up going. But if not, you can always check the manual. And just to show you that real quick, if you take a look at right there, see the red circles 1, 2, and 3, that's where we're going to put those heat sinks real quick. These are just a peel and stick. And plop that right down, just like that. Do the next one. Make sure you try to get them centered up as best as possible. And then the last one. And you can see that's how I put them on. Alright, if we take a look at the case, you can see the slot right here for the card, and then the slot on the bottom down here. So we're going to want to stick it in and pop it on just like that, and it fits rather well. Alright, next thing is we want to take the top case and pop it on just like that. Looks pretty good. Alright, now we're going to grab the fan. And you can see it has a red and a black wire. That's going to be important. And we want to pop it on just like that. And now we're going to plug in the fan so we can plug this on top real quick. And if you look at the guide, it tells you down here, red goes to pin 4, black goes to pin 6. So red to pin 4, black to pin 6. And then we pop it on. And poof, there you go. Looks great. And then we can start to move on and set it all up. Oh, before we do any more, let's go ahead and plug in the camera too, just so I don't have to do this later. So we're going to take out the camera cable. Just like that. And then we're going to pop the top back off. And you can see in here, hopefully you can see that. This one right here is labeled camera. Just take a small flat blade screwdriver and pop up the sides. That basically unlocks it. And this is a long one because we're going to need the camera to be inside the printer enclosure. And if you just take the cable and stick it in, and then just push down those tabs you just lifted up, that's all it takes. And we're going to loop it through like that, and then pop our cover back on. And you can see then it feeds out the end just like that. We'll move on to just pull out the power adapter for the trash and decoration bin. You can see that's USB-C. If you want your switch, that'd be this, and you can see it's got on and off on it. And you would just plug it in between there. And we'll go pop out the memory card here while we've got it. And drop them on the floor. But the little one is all we really need. And it goes, you see the little slot right there? You want to put the pins facing up and just push it in until you feel it click. And then that's it. Let's move on to the actual getting setup stage. Alright, let's work on getting everything plugged in. Unwrap the power adapter because we're going to need that. Okay, real quick off to the side, I'm going to borrow this Ethernet cord off of my old mini OctoPrint, and we're going to plug this in because we're going to want to get updates right away. So you can see that just plugs in right there. Get the ribbon out of our way a little bit. This is the HDMI cable. Just pull the ends off them. And as you saw in the instructions earlier, it tells you to plug it into the one closest to the power adapter. So we're going to plug it in right here, right on the side there. And then we're going to take the power switch and just plug it in like that. And plug it in right there. And that is the basic hookup. You want to get a USB keyboard and mouse just for initial setup, which I'll steal off my computer right there. Alright, now we've plugged the SD card into my MacBook Pro, and just going from here, we need to install an operating system on the SD card to get the Raspberry Pi to boot. I'm on a Mac. If you're on Windows or Linux, you're going to have to look up on how to do it. Also, this is a Raspberry Pi 4 8 gig, which is 64-bit. And I'm looking to build an OctoPrint server out of it, so I'm going to use a beta version of OctoPi built for the 64-bit just to get this thing going. From here, we're basically going to need to identify that SD card. So let's go ahead and type in disk util list. And we can see down here at the bottom, dev disk 5 is 128 gigs and is a Windows one, so it's probably that SD card. You want to be careful here and not accidentally wipe out any of your hard drives. So now that I've identified that, we need to unmount that SD card so that we can overwrite it. So we're going to go disk util unmount disk dev disk 5. And obviously it helps if I spell everything right. Now we want to take that image I downloaded, the beta image of OctoPi, and copy it to this disk. So we're going to type in sudo dd bs equals 1 meg if equals the path of wherever you downloaded that image to of the disk dev disk 5. Semicolon and then sync. It may ask you for your password. If it does, type in your password for your laptop, or else this will just start and go. This might take a bit, so we'll go ahead and kind of fast forward through this. Finished, and all we need to do is just eject the new disk that will boot our Raspberry Pi. Sudo disk util eject dev disk 5. And that's it. Let's move back over to the actual Raspberry Pi. Alright, as you can see, we've got the Raspberry Pi all hooked back up over here with a monitor, and we got our card all formatted out with the beta version of OctoPi for the 64-bit. Let's put it in. And click the power on. Let's see what happens here. Well, that definitely looks like something. Looks like it's rebooting. And looks like it's all started up. Alright, that's the end of part one. Part two will go into a bit more of configuring this up and making it work. Alright, thanks for watching.